we're going to grab an old roll of 2-inch tape. We're going to pull the tracks off there via the burls into Pro Tools. Then we're going to mix the song using outboard gear, plugins, and my console. Let me show you the tape machine. This is a JH24 from 1983. It is a 24-track recorder, and it records on 2-inch tape. Each row of 8 channels, 1 through 8 on top, 9 through 16, and then 17 through 24, has a tray of 8 channels. So if you look here, this is the first 8 channels. Channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 cards for channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and so on. So right now I have a calibration tape on here, even though it says ATR. I have the short version calibration tape and it comes on a smaller reel. I put it on a bigger reel because I want it to be the same weight and the same everything, and I'm just neurotic like that, okay? So you'll notice when I press play, it's going to play the test tone and all my VUs will jump to 0.
1 kilohertz.
And they are at 0. That gets annoying fast. So, and then I could hit return to 0 or start. Here it says that is return to 0, and it'll go back to exactly where it's supposed to. And stop at 0. And that is the JH24. I just wanted to show it because you're not going to see it again and again in this video, because once we transfer the files, we're going to be doing everything from Pro Tools. So we are going to do a full mix, all right? I wish I could do it live in real time so we could mix it together and you guys could be saying, hey, let's hear this, throw this on the kick, let's hear this on the vocals. That would be awesome. Okay, now I'm going to transfer the files off of the JH24 through the burls into Pro Tools, recorded at 24-bit 96K. The very first thing I'm going to do is I am going to come over here. I'm going to select all. I'm going to grab all the tracks. I am going to create a playlist, a new playlist. Go to playlist 1, copy. Playlist 2, paste. And the reason why I'm doing that is because as I alter these tracks and go through them and change things and clean things up, if anything happens, I have a backup. I could go back to the playlist to where the track originally came into Pro Tools and have the original track. It's a good habit to get into. I have all the tracks in Pro Tools lined up and outputs assigned to my board. We're going to go through them really fast. So we have the kick, front of kick, snare, hi-hat, and a mono overhead. These blue tracks you see here are Vca tracks. So think of them as little subgroups. I got the drums here. I got a mix with the faders, and then I have the Vca controlling all this. The master fader for these 5 faders. Same here. We got guitars. 1, 2, 3, 4 rhythm guitars, and I got a master fader for it. And that's the Vca tracks. We are going to mark our channels on the board. All right, so things we should know. I always put my mix bus compressor on the mix before I start mixing. So my Allen Smart C2 and the Alicia X filter is dialed in on very light settings. We're going to mix into that. Next, I am going to raise the drum bus I have set in the box and add a little bit of reverb because we are going to mix into that. And then I'll adjust it as we go. I am going to solo the VCA for the drums, and I'm going to raise the drum track. So here we go. I'm going to do this quick. The board is normalized. There's no EQ engaged, and all the panning is at the center position. Faders are down. So here we go. Alright, so what I'd like to hear is some more clarity in the low end and the low mids, mainly in the guitars. It just sounds all muddled together. And basically all we did was get volume and some panning down, and that'll change as I go through these tracks. Let me get to a guitar part here. Right here, we'll grab this. And I'm going to solo this guitar. We're going to hear it. Okay, so what that is a guitar player playing, and there's a close mic on the amp and a distant mic. I have them hard pan left and right. We're not going to use it like that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to put them both up the center, and I am going to add the distant mic. I'm going to tuck it underneath the main mic. Here we go. All right, and now we are going to pull up the Renaissance 2-band EQ, and I am going to grab the low band and basically cut from 105 down, 106. And I'm just going to copy that and paste it right over to both tracks, get some of that low end out of there. All right, very good. Now we're going to go to a part where two other sets of guitars come in, and I am going to solo those guitars. Here they are. Okay, I had those panned 50% left and right. I'm going to make them 100% left and right. I am going to grab that Renaissance EQ, and I'm just going to pull it right over to the other tracks, to those tracks, but I am going to go at 118 with the high pass on this guitar. And let's hear that. I'm going to go to a piano part right here, and I'm going to solo the piano. All right, same thing. I would like to cut out a little bit. I am going to pull up an EQ here. Again, I'm going to do the Renaissance, and I am going to cut at 62 for both tracks. Now, there's 3 tracks here on the piano. I got one hard pan left, one hard pan right, and those are close mic'd on the piano, and then there's one distant back, and that's this third track here. I'm not going to do any low cut on the third track. I'm going to leave all that room in there because I want to hear it. Now, additionally, there's another thing I want to do is I want to brighten these up. So I'm going to grab an EQ, and I'm going to go with the Siemens EQ here. And I am going to click over 2 to clarity. I am going to add back the low end that they took out. I'm going to pull back the distortion a little bit, the drive, pull back the mid band to 2. I'll leave that there, and I'm just going to grab that and double it over to the other track. And now let's give these a listen. They pop a little more, all right? So good. I want to hear this bass guitar. Okay, for that bass guitar, I know that I'm going to use either the console EQ or some sort of outboard EQ, but there's something I want to do here. I'm going to grab 2 things. The Renaissance EQ, and I'm going to come all the way down and cut at like 28 Hertz. Then I am going to grab an API 550A plugin, and I am going to boost 50 Hertz quite a bit. Let's try 6 dB. Let's hear what that does. Let's hear 9. Let's hear it without it. Okay, let's put it back in. I like that. We're going to leave that in there. Additionally, I'll add outboard EQ too. All right, let's solo the drums. What a cool snare. For the 2 overhead mics, I'm going to grab one of my favorite EQs for plugins. It's the FabFilter Q3. And I'm going to go to one of my presets that I have for overheads. And I'm going to manipulate this plugin. I am going to bring this back to around 45. And I'm going to extend the high end. Also, this low end high pass right here, I don't want a 12 dB octave cut. I definitely will go with the 6. And then I'm just going to take this plugin and copy it over. I have a hi-hat mic here and a mono overhead here. There's only 5 mics on this kit. And I'm just using them as basically stereo overheads. I got one pan to the left, one pan to the right. Otherwise, the drums would be very mono sounding, and I want more of a spread out of them. So it's what I got to do with what I'm dealing with. All right. Now let's hear them. I'm going to make this a 2-part video. Let's go over what we did in part 1. We recovered the tracks from an old deteriorating tape that was shedding and had striation marks on it, basically saving this song from never being heard. We used plugins in a reductive way to make room in the low end so the instruments sat better together. In part 2, we're going to patch in outboard gear and tweak the tracks to another dimension. Let me know what outboard gear you would use on what tracks in this song. Thanks for watching.